All
And
right, good morning, everyone. My name's Erica. I'm from Placer County. You'll also see Jed, who will be co-presenting with me today. He will be sharing the screen here in just a minute or two with our presentation. But before I get started, I wanted to highlight my background photo here. I can tell you I worked for Placer County for a decade. I started when I was young, recently out of college. And Placer County is by far one of the most beautiful, including Lake Tahoe region. It's one of the best places to work. So you can see this is actually one of our employees' dogs on a stand-up paddleboard in Tahoe. So I love to have this as my background because it's always a fun segue. So what we're going to be doing today is giving you a brief overview of our Placer County recruitment process. I know a lot of public agencies that you'll hear from today probably have fairly similar processes. So some of this may be repeat information, but some of it may be new. What's more specific to Placer County as an agency. So if you have an interest in working with us specifically, you'll get some great information from today. Let's go to the next slide.
So Erica, are you seeing can you tell me you're seeing the presentation?
I do see it, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just want to make sure.
Yep, thanks for checking. So we're going to give a brief overview today of, and I've touched on it a little bit, but why Placer County, why we're employer of choice. We're going to talk a little bit about how the recruitment process works. So we're going to go over how eligible lists work, what the process is to be placed on an eligible list, the examination process, what that looks like. We're going to go over just a brief overview of our current recruitment opportunities, and Jed will be highlighting that for you. And then we'll give a little bit more information on the Placer County specific recruitment process, interviews, and then I'm also going to touch briefly on pre-employment and the final offer for a position as well. And Jed, as we go along, if there's any questions in the chat, if you don't mind monitoring those, we can answer them as we go if they're applicable, or we'll answer them at the end as well. I'll leave a little bit of time. All right. So next we're going to talk about why Placer County. As you're aware, most public agencies have great benefits. We like to consider ourselves an employer of choice. We've got great benefits, medical, dental, vision, life insurance, retirement, excellent work-life balance. This basically means we're a great place to work. We've got paid vacation time, generous holidays, generous sick leave. And then if you're a permanent employee, that CalPERS retirement pension plan. Just a little bit snapshot overview of what our workforce looks like. We have almost 2,800 allocated positions for this current fiscal year. That means that we have 2,800 positions that can be filled by individuals. And we have approximately 2,500 permanent employees. So we are a vast employer. We go basically from the Roseville border down on the west side of Placer all the way up to North Lake Tahoe. So we cover quite a bit of ground, and we have employees that work all throughout that range. Next slide. Just a little bit more information on what our makeup of our workforce looks like. Jed will go over this in just a few minutes, but we have more than 400 different classifications. So basically that means we have more than 400 different job titles or career options working for the county. So the great thing about working for the county is we're vast. So there's a variety of departments you can work in. If you have an interest in a specific area, you can start there, see if it's the right fit for you. And then you also have the ability to move around the organization. When I first started with the county, I worked in child support services. I loved my job there, but I had an opportunity in human resources. And so that just gives you an example of the county does have a lot of options, and you can really have the ability to find what interests you based on your background, your experience, your education. So you're not just stuck in one specific sector. You have lots of options working for the county because we offer a variety of public services, everything from engineering and architecture to our clerk recorder elections office, to human resources, to social services. our assessor's office, appraising properties and things like that throughout the county. So lots of different career opportunities and also lots of location opportunities. If you have the dream of living in Tahoe, working for Placer County is a great way to be able to do that. So now we're going to change gears, and Jed is going to just give you a brief review of our current jobs page and what job announcements look like.
Yeah, thanks, Erica. So on the screen here, you can see the link to our jobs website, jobs@placercounty.com. And this is where you will find all of our open jobs. You're seeing my screen still, right, Erica?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So let me back out here real quick. So this is what jobs@placercounty.com looks like, employment opportunities. It has a section for all of our regular open positions. You'll see there's a lot of them. We're hiring for a lot of jobs right now. We also have a section for jobs specifically in the Tahoe area. I'm gonna look, and of course, each line here will give you some pertinent information. I am gonna click into one and show you what a job posting looks like. So for an example, we have accounting assistant senior here. It tells you the salary, what department it is in. This one in particular is countywide, meaning it's used in most, if not all, of our departments. It tells you when it opened and the filing deadline. Be sure to get your application submitted well in advance of the filing deadline. That's some good advice I can give you. It also gives you the employment type. This one is permanent full-time, permanent part-time, temporary extra help. So some jobs may be all three, some jobs may be just permanent, it may be just extra help. So it's important to take a look at this and make sure you know what type of job you're applying for. If you want to do part-time, obviously make sure it says that here. It also gives the work location. This job in particular can be used in all three of our areas of the county: Auburn, South Placer, and Tahoe. So again, make sure that you know which area you're applying for. If you only want to work in Auburn, make sure that's here. On your application, you will have a chance to check a box saying, yes, I'm willing to work in Auburn and South Placer and Tahoe. So coming down here, gives some information about the county itself. Gives some information about the position, what we are looking for in this vacancy. And the position information section is really important because this is tailored to the position itself. This is a chance for the department to convey exactly what this person is going to be doing. So pay special attention to that. We have an outline of the great benefits available at Placer County. We have information about the job itself, what it does, what supervision it receives and exercises, examples of the duties that it will be doing on a daily basis, the working conditions. And then we come to the minimum qualifications. The minimum qualifications is really important because this is how you know that you're going to be successful in this position. You'll want to make sure that you meet these qualifications. So as an example, this accounting assistant requires 2 years of experience performing duties similar to an accounting assistant journey with Placer County. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have been an accounting assistant journey with Placer County. It just means that you have to have experience that is similar to that. And training. So this one is equivalent to completion of 12th grade. Additional training in bookkeeping, accounting is desirable, but desirable does not mean required. So all that's required is completion of 12th grade. And then down here, it'll tell you the required licenses or certificates that you must have for this position. This one is, a simple driver's license. We also have the knowledge, skills, and abilities section. This is kind of an indication of what you'll, obviously need to know and be able to do. And the knowledge, skills, and abilities section is a good place to kind of study in preparation for an examination for this vacancy. The selection procedure down here is going to tell you what the examination process is going to look like for this. So for this one in particular, it's going to be a training and experience rating, which is basically a supplemental questionnaire that goes along with the application. And it's also going to have an online exam, an online written exam, which it tells you here when that's scheduled to be. And again, the online exam, the written exam, the knowledge, skills, and abilities section is a great way to prepare for that exam. And then we have our notices down here: condition of employment, substitute list, employees of other public agencies. If you're an employee of another public agency, such as another county, you may be eligible to transfer to Placer County to this recruitment. And of course, our Placer County is an equal opportunity employer. And then some of our recruitments have a timeline as well, so you can kind of get a sense of what time frame you're looking at for this. So my best piece of advice I can give about submitting an application through our website here is, if you don't write experience in your application, then we won't know about it, of course. So it is on you really to convey your knowledge and experience to the person reviewing your application. What I like to tell people is, you may be the best qualified person in the world for this job, but if you don't show that in your application, then the person reviewing is not going to know. You can't just assume that they're going to know that, oh yeah, you have this experience or you have the right education. Be sure to outline it very specifically. And it's not a bad idea to also describe in your application how your experience fits with the job posting. Okay. So coming back to the slideshow here, Erica.
Yeah. So Jay gave you all this information, showed you the job posting, but the question that you're probably having is what happens when there's a job vacancy? So the first thing that Human Resources does is we determine if there's already an eligible list in place, which we'll talk a little bit more in just a minute about what an eligible list is, or if there's not an eligible list already in place, we will run a new recruitment for that vacancy. There's also a process where Jed touched on it briefly, where if you are employed by another public agency, so another city or a county that runs on a civil service system and appoints applicants based on it's running an examination and placing them on the eligible list. If you took a competitive examination when you got your job originally, you may be able to transfer via the public agency eligible list PAL application process. And basically you won't have to take the exam and be placed directly on the eligible list. So if you are employed by a public agency, it's always a great way to reach out to us. And you can find out more about that process. Next slide. So what is an eligible list? You'll see that we have the Placer County Code pasted there and what the definition of an eligible list is. It's basically the names of eligible people who are arranged in order of final rank, who've been found to be qualified through suitable tests for employment, Basically, what this means is if you're placed on an eligible list, you've applied for the recruitment, you've been determined to meet the minimum qualifications that Jed talked about just a few minutes ago on the job posting, and based how you have scored on the competitive examination and passed that examination, you'll be placed on a hiring list in order of rank. And we'll go just a little bit next year into what those examination types can look like. But you saw this information on the posting. It gives you the information on what type of exam and things like that. Let's go to the next slide. So how do you get on an eligible list? Basically, like we said before, it's next slide here. Chapter, our code is also pasted there. Basically, it's a result of an examination to all persons who may lawfully be appointed to a position for which they meet the minimum qualifications for. So the key to being placed on an eligible list is, like we've talked about, meeting those minimum qualifications and knowing how to navigate the recruitment process. So we'll go a little bit more into that in just a minute. But for any classified position, any position basically, unless it's executive or very high level, which would be, we call unclassified, any classified position, you'll take a competitive examination for. And let's go into those types of examinations on the next slide. So there's a few types of examinations that you will take depending on how the recruitment is outlined. So once you apply, you're determined to meet the minimum qualifications, you'll be sent a notice inviting you to take an exam. And so that exam could be a written online examination. It could be a written in-person examination. We have oral examinations where you will answer specific questions before an oral board or oral panel of subject matter experts. We have a training and experience rating, which could either be self-scored by the system automatically based on how you respond to questions, or it could be rated by a training and experience rating panel, again, of subject matter experts. For specific job classifications, such as to become a deputy sheriff, or in some cases, a probation officer, we have performance examinations and physical agility examinations. These basically test someone's physicality for a position. We have a recruitment coming up in the future for senior equipment operators. So this is one where we have a performance examination and we actually have applicants come out and operate equipment, and they're scored by subject matter experts based on how they operate specific road construction equipment. We can also have a combination of any of the above. As you saw when Jed shared the job posting for senior accounting assistant, it was a combination of a written examination and a training and experience rating. So when you apply for a job, I know Sarah mentioned in the last presentation, it's a great idea to save a copy of the job posting so you'll know what you're getting into, know what to prepare for, and all the information will be laid out there for you. So let's go to the next slide. Just a little bit of information. As I mentioned, saving that job posting is a good thing. Just from a perspective of a recruitment timeline, recruitments are posted for a minimum of 10 business days. You'll see all of the dates as outlined in the job posting as to when the final filing deadline is. Once that final filing deadline or that cutoff, if it's continuous, if it's open on a continuous basis, we'll screen all the applicants for minimum qualifications like we talked about. And then if you pass or determined to meet the minimum qualifications, you'll be invited to take the exam. We'll score that exam, and then you'll be placed on the eligible list, like we talked about earlier. There are some important factors to applying, though. Make note of the final filing deadline. Start your application early and submit it well before the deadline. It's as simple as just starting it the weekend before it closes or the week before it closes. Jed did mention some of this as well, but be as clear and detailed as possible in your application. Don't assume that the screener has additional details. We only have what you provide us on your application. So the more you give us in regards to detailed descriptions, the better. Saying see resume does not always result in successful applications being screened. Proofread all your application materials before submission. There's a lot of things that you type in there, so making sure you look over all of that information. And make sure you have all the pertinent details and that they're in the right order, such as the dates that you were employed. And that you also have, you also take down the information, your job title, making sure that everything's correct in that way, and then make note of the date, time, and location for the exam and when the recruitment closes. This will help eliminate some questions that you have. Let's go to the next slide. So once we screen, once the exam's complete, we establish the eligible list, and the top 5 ranks are certified to a department to fill one vacancy. It is important to note that each rank may have multiple people within that rank. So rank 1 could have 10 people in it, rank 2 could have 15. Just depends on the size of the recruitment and if it's going to be used on an individual position basis or on a county-wide basis. It depends on how wide those bands in each rank will be. So for one vacancy, as long as you meet the vacancy criteria for location and schedule, permanent, full-time, or temporary extra help, whether you're on rank 1 or rank 5, all 5 of those ranks will get sent over for one vacant position. And it is good to note that, especially for county-wide recruitments, eligible lists are used for multiple vacancies. So they're good for a minimum of 6 months. Once they're established, any vacancy in the department for that specific job title, they will utilize that list for hiring, but they can be extended for a maximum of up to 2 years. We're seeing list life to be about a year. Currently, though, it's rare that a list will last 2 years, just because of our current recruitment climate that we're in. As applicants sit on lists for a longer amount of time, they're less viable. Maybe they found other jobs and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about the interview process. So once the hiring manager receives that certified list, they can extend an interview invite to those who most closely match the vacancy criteria based on their job history, educational background, and each list, like I said, can be used for multiple positions. If you are selected for an interview and then are extended a conditional offer for a position, the department will do reference checks with your professional references on your application. They'll also have a pre-employment process for you. So that includes a background check, a live scan background check for every position with the county, with FBI and Department of Justice as well. And sometimes pre-employment medical, depending on the position type, what that medical will entail. So we have a little more information for you on how to be notified of jobs that you may be interested in, and Jed is going to talk to you about that on the next slide.
Yeah, so I just want to quickly go out to our job descriptions page. That's this link here. So this is a list of all of our job descriptions. Like Erica talked about before, there are a lot of them. There are over 400. And if you click on one of them, you can see, of course, the job description, which has much of the same information that we talked about before, minimum qualifications, the duties, all of that, as well as the salary. But this job description page also has this link here: notify me when a job opens for the position. So if you go through this list and you see a job that you like, but it's not currently open, you can click here to sign up for an email alert for the next time that we are hiring for that job. So I would encourage all of you to do that. Look through this list, see what you're interested in doing, and sign up for email alerts. So does anyone have questions for us?
Looks like there's a couple in the chat here from Christine. Once assigned a rank, is there a way to check if your rank is getting close to being chosen? So if you're in ranks 1 through 5 and you meet the vacancy criteria for that position, meaning location and schedule, then you'll be referred. So it's just a matter of a waiting game. If your application history meets what the interviewers need for that position, then you'll be called. Some departments with large lists will do a phone screen for all applicants. So it just depends on the size of the recruitment and the hiring manager's need. Do you want to take the other one, Jed, from Cassandra?
So Cassandra says, other tips you can share that will make our application stand out from the hundreds of other applicants. Definitely the tips that we shared earlier, making it clear, making your experience and your training clear in the application, making it clear how it applies to the job posting. Like Erica said before, it can be something as simple as proofreading and making sure that your application is, is written well, has correct grammar, all that sort of thing. No mistakes. I also encourage people to submit a cover letter, a resume and a cover letter. I know the information on the resume can be redundant because you're putting most of that information in the application, but your resume is a good chance for you to not only convey your experience, but maybe highlight what you want the hiring manager to see. It's also a good chance for to convey your professionalism and how your resume itself looks. And then cover letter as well. Cover letter is a good opportunity to, free form, just talk to the hiring manager, tell them why you're the best fit for the job, tell them why your experience uniquely is suited to the knowledge, skills, and abilities required by the position.
I think that is all the time we have. I really appreciate you both. This is great information as usual.